Hi, Kelly. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Jess. How are you?
I'm good. It's one of those days. Do you carry a lot of bottles with you because you're drinking a whole bunch of things?
I carry mostly, I would say one thing is
Okay.
my usual go-to.
Water, obviously. Yes.
Yes.
Electrolytes mixed with what are we having? Creatine?
Mm-hmm.
Creatine monohydrate, Warrior Strong Wellness. I did not have coffee today. This is my caffeinated beverage. Starbucks refreshers. You know they have a lot of caffeine in them. Did you know that? So they have concentrated bottles of refresher. It's the mango dragon fruit refresher that you just add water to so you can make it how you want it. And then I bought frozen dragon fruit and threw it in here. So I'm basically having a salad.
I don't
So
know the
those are my
nutrients
beverages.
of dragon fruit, but tastes delicious.
It said it was a superfood on the bag, and it said it had 5 grams of fiber in a serving.
Nice.
So maybe it is a superfruit.
Yeah, speaking of nutrition, I am, as we both are, I've been doing MyFitnessPal this week to really look at my protein because I'm really frustrated with just my own weight gain and figuring out how to dial that in. And so, I mean, it inevitably, the main thing is just really making sure I'm looking at my calories, and calories not
And your
necessarily
macros, but
looking at the
yeah.
macros and then looking at calories. The reason I'm looking at calories isn't like limiting. You just need to be aware because, I mean, if you consume a lot of calories, that's not good because that usually means you're eating too much food, which is my issue if it is that problem. So anyway, I'm doing a lot of weird things to like get my protein up where, like this morning I was like, like how much is 2 eggs? I'm trying to hit like 30 to 40 for breakfast and it wasn't enough. And
Eggs are
I
6
was,
grams an
yeah,
egg,
that's
right?
12 grams.
Yeah.
And so, then I was going through my AI to say, what else can I eat? And it was like toast with peanut butter. I was like, sweet. So I was able to continue to ratchet up my protein. So
Yeah.
anyway, I'm doing a lot of different things like that to try to get my protein up. I did one day because I'm trying all different things. I always put collagen in my coffee and there's protein in that. And then I ended up I have some non-flavored protein powder. And so I was putting that in my coffee. And just one day I did that and I was bloated so badly for 24 hours.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I had fasted and then I did all that. And I looked online and it basically said I kind of like it fermented in my gut at some level. I was just having a lot
Nice.
of terrible bloating, which made me feel like a giant fat whale. And so that sucked. But anyway, this is my own journey, just trying to figure out what works and what doesn't and how I'm feeling,
I love that. I know we talked about it before, and I swear Cassidy told us this 30-33 rule, where your first meal of the day is 30 grams of protein, 30 grams of fiber, and 3 servings of probiotics. And I love that. And so for me, it's really trying to get those, like gut health is so important for me, and trying to get the probiotics. Like I have Gabby on it. Her and I are taking the same probiotic. And then we take like a shot of kombucha. And also I got sick. I don't know what the heck is going on with me, but I got sick. I think it was something I ate. I was obsessed with this Mediterranean chicken salad from Trader Joe's. And I took it with me to Gio's game in a cooler packed with ice. Then I brought it home, and the next day he had a game, and then I had it with some crackers. And I feel like maybe it was a chicken salad, but whatever it was, I was up at 4 a.m. feeling terrible, and I ended up throwing up. I have the most sensitive gag reflex in the history of the world. I was going to take Gio to school because I signed up to volunteer. I feel terrible that I didn't volunteer, but he's always like, let's stay home, Mom, because I was so sick. And I was like, you're going to miss this opportunity. We have the 5th grade field trip here. The schools are K to 5, and then 6th, 7th, 8th is middle school. And so 5th grade always has like a big field trip. So does 8th grade and senior year. And so we're going to Zion National Park. And I was like, you're not going to be able to decorate your hat for Zion. And he was like, I don't care. So I stayed home, but I'm so out of it. And like, it's against everything in me to just have like carbs, and it's the brat diet, right? So this brand Be Free, if anybody out there is gluten free, it's BFREE. I've only found it at Walmart so far, but they have these really high fiber, high protein, gluten free tortillas, and they have a sourdough, a gluten free sourdough bread.
Oh.
So I had a piece of toast, and then I had some rice. Monday, I didn't eat anything. Tuesday, I had the toast and some rice, and then finally I started eating. But when you're like just trying to like not be sick, so I can't even like think right now about, I mean, I'm better today, but when you can't think about, oh, I'd love to have protein. Like I wanted protein so bad. I wanted meat so bad, but I'm like, I can have toast or crackers
Yeah.
until I'm better,
Yeah. Yeah.
But
kind of have to let it run its course.
And that's why I love I'm always with the probiotics, trying to get all kinds of probiotics on my body to keep my gut health so good, because I am on the GLP-1, injections. And so that can have, those side effects. So it could have been a side effects of GLP-1, but it was just weird that it was like, short 24-hour situation. Which reminds me, I want to talk about before we go today with Giovanni's Zion trip. I am signing up to volunteer. I did this for the other children. Gabby went to Disneyland. So I don't know if that happens there, but it's a big thing here with these field trips that you leave early in the morning and come back really late.
Yeah, the long day
So for
trips.
Disney, we got back like 2 a.m. So for Zion, we have to be there at the school at 4 a.m. on Friday. I have been packing for this trip during my sleep every night, and I am not sleeping well. Do you get that way when you have a trip coming up? I don't know. It's like I have anxiety dreams, and I'm not necessarily an anxious person, but I've been setting aside ponchos. I've got our water backpacks. I made sure I couldn't find my one hiking shoe. I was freaking out. I was texting all of our children as if someone took my hiking shoe. Found my other hiking shoe. Then I'm like, okay, well, I have to have socks. What's the weather? Okay, Gio and I have rain jackets. I'm going to pack 3 ponchos for these other kids. When we did Valley of Fire for Dominic's classroom, our school has a very diverse socioeconomic background, the students do. So the students that got free lunch on that trip, the little girl ate her entire lunch on the way up there. And so she had nothing to eat the whole time. And so I'm trying to we're going to be hiking with backpacks. What if the kids don't bring a backpack? What if they don't bring a water bottle? I don't know the family situation on this kid that's going to be coming on this trip. So I'm like, I've got to pack everything, because what if the children it says mandatory water bottle, mandatory backpack. Those, and sneakers. But I'm like, what if these kids don't have food at their house? What if they eat all the lunch, whatever it is. So anyway, do you get that way at all, where you're have anxiety for days or weeks before anything?
I mean, I have anxiety all the time, and it comes and goes depending on things, but I can imagine that would be stressful, having to think about all that. I don't remember recently where I've necessarily had a trip coming up. Like Christmas obviously ends up being that way, right?
Yeah.
Just making sure you got enough gifts and making
stuff.
sure you got all that. But that's really fun that you are doing that. I am very excited about Beckett changing schools, because then his other school, I'm pretty sure they do a DC trip. So I'm excited about a DC trip, because Wes didn't get to do that. And I tried. Another mom and I really tried to get that to happen, and we weren't allowed to. And so we did something else, which was really fun. I don't remember that being super stressful. But I will tell you this. I was just telling my husband this morning, which is lately, and it's perimenopausal crap that I feel like I'm really challenged with lately. And the one thing that's happening, and I do have my 3 a.m. wakings. That's a normal thing. It's been happening for months. My issue now is that I have this middle of the night waking, but my brain is really crazy, and it's so alert, and I can't go back to sleep. And you know how when you wake up like that and you try to get yourself back to sleep and you ultimately settle down, maybe you lay in bed for an hour and a half or whatever. When I had my original cortisol test with my functional doctor, he told me that cortisol tends to sometimes even peak early in the morning. And so that every morning when I wake up, I should do like 10 push-ups, 10 sit-ups or something to like burn off residual cortisol. Instead, I don't know if you're
Interesting.
supposed to do this, but like I am now when I wake up at 3 a.m. and I'm like, I can't go back to sleep and I'm really angry. So I obviously go to the bathroom because that's what you do when you can't sleep. You end up saying, oh, I must have to go to the bathroom. You're not waking up because you have to go to the bathroom. You're waking up because of other reasons, but then you're like going to the bathroom. But in the bathroom, Jesse, I do 20 push-ups.
And
I
does that
like
how do
get,
you go back to fall back asleep?
yes. Like, I don't know what is this thing where I guess
Mm.
I, for some reason, feel like if I bring my heart rate up before bed, I won't be able to go back to sleep. But I bring my heart rate up and I'm able to fall back to sleep. I mean, it's not like I immediately hit the pillow and like I'm out. But
Yeah.
I personally feel like for me, it's helping. Oh,
No, I think that's awesome. Do you ever do melatonin?
yep, I do melatonin. But I don't do melatonin because melatonin hasn't worked for me because I don't have a problem falling asleep. I have a problem staying asleep. And so
Yeah.
I just haven't kept melatonin going for that reason. Um, I've had done cortisol manager, which is a supplement,
Yeah, I have that. I take that before bed.
and I take magnesium. And the magnesium has really helped and that changed. But again, as I'm evolving during this perimenopausal time, I'm realizing that like I'm having more issues with sleep than I have before.
Gabby's trainer told her magnesium 2 hours before bed.
Yes. Yeah. You're not supposed to
Okay.
take it before bed. But it
Yeah.
also, the reason they say that is because it is impacting your ability to fall asleep. I do not have a fall asleep problem.
Right.
I
It's
have
the
a
stay
staying
asleep.
asleep at 3 a.m. problem.
Alpha stem? You've been clipping up with alpha stem?
I don't, but the thing is I don't have anxiety. Like what I mean is that I don't have, there's nothing right now that's like weighing on me.
Insomnia. The aid is anxiety, insomnia, depression. So I say that because alpha stem treats anxiety, insomnia, and depression. It treats insomnia. So
I'll try.
I'm just interested in, I wonder, I should clip up too. We both should. Let's try to clip up and see if that improves our sleep. I thought
you weren't supposed to do it before bed though.
It depends on the
What is,
person. It
oh, okay.
depends on the person.
Okay.
Some people shouldn't be doing it before bed. I'm like you. I don't have a fall asleep problem. So like I have no problem falling asleep. I mess up because I've been reading this. It's going to be a show on Amazon Prime called Off Campus. And I don't know if it was showing on Off Campus and it said based on the series or it was kept showing in my books. It's a romantic, modern, romance book.
Mm-hmm.
Set at this school, Broward University in the Boston area. And it's like this girl and this hockey player. And I guess every player, there are 4 roommates and there are 4 books. So I guess they all like couple up in these series. So whatever reason, I stayed up till 2 a.m. reading it. And then I just totally messed myself up. And then I'm kind of having anxiety dreams. So I need to get it together. You and I take sleep so seriously. So I need to like get it together and get my sleep hygiene better. But the other day, like I don't take melatonin unless I really need it. And we just get it in the 1 milligram pills. And so after I was feeling like crap that day, Monday night, I took 4 milligrams, which for me, like knocked me out. I was like, I'm taking 4 milligrams. I went to bed at 7 p.m. And I was like, that was wonderful. But I also wonder about THC gummies too, for you or for anyone. I was having kind of migraines recently and I'm like, maybe I need to get some THC gummies. I don't know. For sleep. I don't know. You don't have an opinion on that?
I
You get
don't.
quiet.
I don't. I think that for sleep, you got to try things and do what works for you. But
Yeah.
I guess I feel like if you have trouble falling asleep or if you have trouble staying asleep, there's a problem.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't have to go through that. I think also, I'm not a medical expert, but I think insomnia is just such a like Band-Aid title or label for things that are underlying. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Totally. I before we go to day 2, the other thing I want to ask you really quick, because I love a little mini documentary. I'm not a serious TV watcher.
We're talking about mini being 1 to 3 episodes kind of thing?
Yeah, so there's a 4 episode, right? There's a 4 episode. So I watched the like Biggest Loser one. I watched the Jerry Springer one. I don't know, I'll get on a kick to like watch them on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Trust Me, The False Prophet, about the group of fundamental LDS that live in Colorado City, that's on like the Utah-Arizona border after Warren Jeff was arrested and imprisoned. So I recommend.
You're watching it or you finished it and it
Warren
was
Jess.
really
I have one
interesting?
more. My friend was like, so basically, this is so interesting. I love this woman. There is this like eccentric woman who was raised LDS, found someone who like said they were a prophet and got in this really terrible relationship early in life. And it caused her to go and get her PhD in psychology, specializing in cults. And when Warren Jeff was arrested around, to fact check my dates, around 2011 and left, that whole area was like left totally unprotected. All of these people were left totally unprotected. He was arrested for, sexual abuse towards minors and marrying minors and everything. And so she was down there helping all the women, helping everybody. The county took over that area, or the state or whatever took over, and they were doing evictions, and all these women didn't have ways to make money. And so she came in and she was like, I don't know. I was just drawn to help. Her husband is a music producer. And she was like, I feel drawn to like help these people. And this other guy comes up and says he's the new prophet. And she wasn't prepared. Like, she was just recording things and telling people it was a documentary just to kind of get them to trust her. And she ends up finding herself in the crosshairs of a new prophet who she believes is, he married these young girls, like as young as 10, and she keeps reporting it and no one's doing anything. And she ends up being kind of like a mole with the FBI. And it is fascinating. And she is like, they have recorded everything. And he is saying the craziest stuff. They have video of everything. And the guy's like, come record me, come record me. And for her to be able to have a straight face and to be able, because she was trying to gain their trust, because she thought something was going on and she wanted to earn the trust of these girls to find out what was happening. And right now I'm in 2022. So it is just, it's gotten really crazy. So it's super interesting, that kind of stuff.
Yes.
It's fascinating.
It is. And it's just interesting because it takes you out of the current life you have and you forget about all these other things that are going on or happening.
My life is good, dude. My husband didn't tell me that they all had to go live with a man and be married to him. So I'm like, I'm terrible, because Giovanni was coming in and watching a little bit of the first. It got more like what was happening with the molestation, sex stuff in the later episodes. And so at first he was watching with me and asking questions, and then he left. And later he was asking me all kinds of questions about what happened. And so I even, what's the woman that was abusing her kids on a big YouTube channel? And I read her daughter's book, Frankie, the Frankie family. And sometimes there are certain religions where obedience makes you prime. So in the Frankie family, a woman came in to them and told the husband, like, you're terrible, you're bad for the family, you have to leave and get out of the house. So he was being like retrained out of the house, and so he didn't know everything that was happening in the house. And so in this story, when you're taught obey, obey, obey. So I was just talking to Giovanni about critical thinking. And if your gut tells you this isn't okay, like, it's not okay. And that if someone in a position of power is telling you something, but you're saying but you think it's not okay, you can tell me. I was just talking about everything, and he was asking questions, and it was a little dicey there with the molestation and incest on his, what I thought was appropriate for an 11-year-old.
Yeah.
And then he was like, who created sex? And I didn't say sex. He asked me the question, who created sex? And I was like, what do you mean? Well, why is there sex? Like, who created sex? And I was just like, okay, here we go. Okay.
That's so funny. That's a funny question to ask in that way.
And so I was just like, well, that's how everything's created. That's how humans are made. That's how people are made. Like, and I was like, all living beings, right, have sex to procreate, right? Like, he was like, well, what farm animal? He was like, what animals? He was like cats? And I was like, yeah. I was like, cats and dogs and all kinds of animals. And he was like, okay, if you're on a farm, which animals would it, he was like horses? I'm like, he goes, well, a platypus is the only mammal that lays an egg, And so I was like, yeah, so like if it lays an egg, that's a different way to reproduce. And I was just like, whoa, we got in the weeds there, but we made it through. Anyways, before we end today, we wanted to remind you of May's freebie. We have a free download this month, and we are calling it the Real Over Perfect Weekly Check-In. May is all about your identity. And these are just 5 questions you can come back to every single week to check in with who you actually are right now. Not who you think you should be, not who everyone else needs you to be, just you.
And, we made this because we wanted this ourselves. And so, we want to share it with you, especially if you think this month has really resonated with you. All of our topics, identity, worthiness conversations, and figuring out who you're becoming. So if it has, this is the thing to do. Download it. We love it.
Yeah, screenshot it, save it, put it in your Sunday routine. It takes 5 minutes and it's free. When you sign up for our newsletter, head to chasingbrighter.com to grab it.
And we really do mean it when we tell you that it helps. It's a really fun activity. And also, don't forget to look us up on our socials, which is at Chasing Brighter, as well as our blog, chasingbrighter.com.
Thanks. Have a great day.